She got a glass of water. Oh, it's 6, I have 6 o'clock. You have 6 o'clock?
Yep.
Oops. Excuse me, Jim, I'm gonna borrow this. Thank you, sir. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Thursday, September 7th, 2024, at the village board meeting. I'm asking everyone to please rise for the pledge of allegiance of the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, John. I just wanted to, I'll do the roll call. I am here. Trustee Pecca?
Here.
Trustee Finch?
Here.
Trustee Newman?
Here.
Trustee Millie?
Here.
Note for the record that we do have a quorum of the village board, and also note for the record that the agenda was posted in full compliance with the open meetings law. I have to announce a possible closed session considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories of disciplinary action of a specific person or plenary consideration of specific personnel problems or the investigation of charges against a specific person, except where paragraph B applies, which, if discussed in public, would be likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data, or involved in such problems or investigations. More specifically, the closed session will relate to the possible initiation of investigation to the former village clerk administrator. Right now, is there any public comments? Did you want to make any public comments? Okay.
None on that I know nothing of it, and I care no comment.
Next agenda item is the consideration of options of remodeling Vernon Fire Station number 1 and the Village Hall complex. I haven't had a chance to talk to Devin, but I'm assuming the board would like to have some information and in regards to the remodeling of both facilities. Is that correct?
Correct.
And then what I'd like to do, if board members wouldn't mind at the next board meeting that Jeff, you're going to be chairing, if board members would think about if there's someone that would like to meet with Devin to talk with him about, possible remodeling options. And I do have, I did speak quite extensively with 2 architectural engineers and a construction manager, all of which are village residents and donated all their time. One of which would be happy to meet with board members to discuss some of the things that he found, or if you want to have a special meeting with them. All those gentlemen, great resources. So we don't have to make a, I know we've discussed the fact that we'd like to have, we know what brand new would cost on both facilities. We also discussed, doing a remodeling or addition. So what I'll do is talk to Devin, if that's okay with the board, to have him proceed, and then if you guys could think about who would like to volunteer, Jeff will do that at the next meeting. Does that sound good, guys? That gives you time to think. That sound good, gentlemen?
Mm-hmm.
Next agenda item. Oops.
That is,
I'm sorry.
at an appropriate time, that is something I would like to ask the board questions about.
Yeah, but we can't do it right now.
Okay,
Is that
tell me
okay?
when I can.
Yeah, it would have been during public comments.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Well, I didn't, yes.
if you want to go up and do public comments, that's
Yes.
if you didn't understand, you're more than welcome to. The only thing is you might not be able to respond, but go ahead and make your public
That's fine.
comments. And if you could just state your name and address for
Yes.
the record.
Is this thing on?
Yes. Yep, it's all green.
Okay. Okay. My name is Robert R. Preuss, Preuss, and I live in Village of Vernon, W246 South 6385, Clearview Lane. I've been a resident in this township, which is now a village, for 20 years.
So you're a veteran.
I'm not a military veteran, but I'm a veteran of the area, yes, and it's a lovely area, and I want to stay apprised of issues and financial considerations in the area so that I can help represent our area and be informed and try to put our our consensus and our input into things if we can. Now, regarding remodeling of the fire station, I wanted to understand exactly what the need is for doing this, and if there is a need, I think it needs to be disseminated amongst the electorate so that they understand it a little better. And I would like to put my thoughts and comments in on this thing, that I would like to see if whatever the need is, that it's handled in a very, very conscientious manner. That if there's needs to be some sort of a expansion to the current facility, that it's done in a manner that makes sense for the facility needs that are there. And first of all, what are those needs, and then what we can do in a financially responsible manner to address those needs. It seems to be that's a building that's not extremely old, so I think it's in probably pretty good shape. And there seems to be enough adjacent land around there that if they needed to put an addition on that thing to address the needs of whatever the volunteer fire department are, that would be the best thing to do, especially in light of the fact that with the tremendous amount of inflation that we have right now these days, especially in the area of building materials and services, in order to address that, would be a conscientious thing to explore various options to address those needs in a comprehensive manner that would be very, very beholding to the taxpayers of our area, and also into the public safety officers that represent our area here in a volunteer manner. So I would like to get a little bit more educated about it, but express our concern that financially things need to be done in a conscientious manner. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Price.
Yes.
Gentlemen, if you don't mind, do you mind if I would deviate to the deputies that are here at the meeting to ask if there's any?
Absolutely.
Good evening, deputies. How are you, gentlemen?
How are you?
We're just PG. Is there anything that you need to add, or we got?
We don't have anything. Do you have anything for us?
No, just that you guys are doing an outstanding job.
All right.
Great job. Great job we saw you doing the rotations during the election. Very subtle, very professional. Great job as always, gentlemen.
Good.
Yes, I
Thank
would
you.
like to echo that as well.
Thank you.
As a resident, you guys
Thank you,
did a
gentlemen.
wonderful job.
Thank you.
Trustee Peppa?
Well, one thing,
Yes,
like,
Stephen, Jimmy.
I forgot to, well, one thing I like how these gentlemen have, our fire station, like, they use it, like, go in the building, use the bathroom, and, like, in the wintertime, especially when you have below zero weather, I'm sure they would be able to spot a broken pipe, in case the pipe would freeze,
Oh, could you speak
Okay.
up a little bit, with the microphone a little bit, so I could hear? I kind of got it, but I'm a little hard of hearing.
I like how these gentlemen provide security for, like, second fire station. They have access to go in there.
They do provide security all over the building.
Oh, yeah.
Just so you know, I don't want people to think that you just go to the bathroom.
Like they're good, check it out and everything.
Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen, as always, and you guys gotta stay safe, okay?
Appreciate it.
With that, we'll go to the agenda item we started to discuss, was the remodeling of Fire Station Number 1 and the Village Hall Complex. Just wanted to remind the electors, thank you, gentlemen,
Thank you.
that on the front page of the website, under the Government tab, is the full study on the fire station and Village Hall. If you would go on the front page of the website, hit Government, go all the way down the study, all the needs assessment, what was studied on the rebuild. What we, and all board members know, is that was the first phase of the studying, was the actual rebuild the both structures. And now what we're going to be researching is a remodeling or addition based upon, the needs, trying to address those needs. And the board has already made a decision that in April of 2025, there would be a referendum to the electors of the Village of Vernon for them to decide, based on the studies that were done and the amount of money, that would be something that the board's already made that decision, that we would go to referendum in April of 2025. But once again, as I stated, if you could think about if you'd like to meet with or if you want to have a board meeting with one of the architectural engineers, I think it'd be a great meeting, you know, for the board to, I mean, Devin and Keller does a great job, but it's kind of nice to, you know, have someone that lives in our community that's in that profession too. I'd hate to have all three of them come, but I think one would be good. Do you think so?
They're all working together right now.
Yeah. Trustee Millies?
I'd like to just have a separate special meeting with them, please come up with a plan. I mean, we don't need detailed plans, but we need to know roughly what we're gonna do and try to accomplish with the idea of cost involved in this.
And all three of those, the two engineers and the construction manager, all of those gentlemen went through the buildings, and each one of them said the integrity of all of our buildings are absolutely fine. They probably don't meet the needs of, especially the fire department, because, you know, that was a volunteer fire department. We didn't have full-time people, and things change, and you know some of the deficiencies in that building. So just if you could think about it, and then Jeff, you guys will, you know, make a decision at the next board meeting. And sorry, we don't take questions. Next agenda item is the 5-year contract for Magnan Assessments. I wanted to let you know how happy the county is, Candy White, to know that Cal Magnan is back with our assessment services. I just wanted to warn the board, when we did RFPs for assessment services, we did it for 3 to 5 years. Cal gave us, you know, 5-year numbers, and he said whether we do a 3 or 5-year contract, it doesn't matter to him. It was drafted as a 5-year, but the attorney had said he doesn't like us doing 5-year contracts. So whatever you want to do, we can tweak that contract, you know, however you would like it to be. Because
We've had Cal in the past, and we've always been very happy with him. If we only do a 3, you know, those next 2 years, the prices will be higher than what's quoted now. So I'd be in favor of just locking in the 5 years and being done with it.
And I think, I'm almost positive, they were here 20-some years before we did the 3-year contract with the other assessment firm. So whatever the board's pleasure is. I just wanted to bring that fact up, that Attorney Macy always frowns upon anything more than 3 years.
Are we gonna vote on this tonight?
I'd make a motion to approve 5 years. I'm on board with Jeff.
I'll second it.
Discussion from the board? I agree with the gentleman. If we didn't have an outstanding track record with Magnet Associates, I'd probably be really worried, but I agree too. Further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next agenda item is authorize the village president to discuss the 2020-25 contracts with the building inspector and the fire chief. One thing I wanted to bring to the board's attention, I personally think a contract with the fire chief is somewhat ridiculous. The fire chief is directed under state statutes, and the only way you can get rid of a fire chief is for cause. So that's just my personal opinion. If you want to continue the agreement issue with the fire chief, that's fine. The building inspector also, oh my God, I think Vince has been here, way over 25 years, and he was with the company before. In fact, Vince and his partner bought out that company we had before. Vince was our building inspector, but, you know, I wanted the permission to talk to Vince about that contract, and wanted to know the board's feeling on doing a 3-year contract with Vince also. I don't know, I didn't talk to Vince how long he planned on, you know, staying in the business. Hopefully a long time. He's an awesome building inspector, but just one of the board's feelings, if you want to do this every single year, do you want to do it every 2 years, 3 years, what would the board like me to discuss with Vince?
I'm okay with 3 years as long as he foresees that he's not going to retire and sell off the business to another individual. And I agree with the fire chief. I think it's ridiculous to have a contract.
I do too.
It serves no purpose.
Okay, so then if that's all right with the board, by consensus, I'll talk to Vince, you know, get some of that discussion going. His contract remains the same as it always was, the split. Vince has, just so you know, he has changed the fee schedule, just so you know. That hasn't been changed for a couple of years, but all departments have that done, except for we're waiting a little bit on the fire department. But I think the chief would appreciate also that we always go through that contract with him, and it is silly. And his fee, his wages are always approved at the end of the year in the resolution we do for everybody's wages. So if that's okay, then just by consensus, I'll start the discussion with the building inspector and bring that back ASAP. The next agenda item is something the board has discussed twice before, is the town of Waguanago has made an offer to the village of Vernon to take over our recreational services. As you know, that department has lost money continuously for many, many years. And it's not that we want to try to make money, but what the board would like to do, or what we talked about in the past, is offering good programs with coaches that are well coached, background checks, safety issues. And the village of Waguanago has made an offer that we really would, save a lot of money as it relates to the cost of recreational services. The other thing too, that we wouldn't absorb a cost. The village of Waguanago is really, really phenomenal about emailing their newsletter out, and all the other programs that they would offer to village residents would also be available to village residents. But what we're agreeing upon as it relates to sharing the cost is our programs, our baseball programs, soccer programs, basketball, volleyball. Dave Adams has, stated he would take care of all those.
And they're already organized about this stuff, and it's hard for us to say organized, I think, for that. So
right.
I think it's kind of a no-brainer to go ahead.
And I did talk to Mike to let Mike know that it had nothing to do with him personally.
No.
The great guy. The fact of the matter is nowadays not having background checks done on coaches is I think very significant. Doing safety meetings for those coaches, and that's something that Waguanago does an excellent job on, training their coaches, supplying them with equipment in the event of any medical issue that raises with a child or somebody there. And the background checks has not been done for years and years. So I think that's really important.
Not only that, but I hate to see when we have kids sign up for a team, but then we, have to bail on their summer plans because we don't have enough kids to make a team.
Right, and I know one thing David's really great at is talking with the DPW director so that he's got a schedule way before the season starts. Good communication if they have to, cancel a meeting due to conditions. A lot of times soccer starts so early that you kind of play those games by ear in the very beginning of the season, depending on the fields. But like I said, there's nothing against Mike. It's just a matter we feel that, this would be a great opportunity for Vernon and have a stronger program for coaches and children.
You need a motion for that?
Yes, there'd be a motion to approve the agreement as presented to the village board on November 7, 2024. That motion was made by trustee Finch. Is there a second to the motion? Second by trustee Pecca. Discussion from board members?
I got a question. In the contract, we got the fee, what they're gonna charge us. Were we supposed to get money for using our fields and stuff? I don't see that listed.
There's a percentage of the fee that we get out of the registration.
That's what I thought, but I don't see that in the contract.
It's in there.
Is it?
Yep. Yeah, and then anything that we book, we make really good money on those league programs that are renting our field. That would be straight Vernon money.
Yeah.
But Jeff, do you want me to find the page number that it's on?
I thought I saw that too, but I'm reading what's in there. I can't find it in the packet, yeah. Oh, here it is. I didn't go far enough.
Yeah, it's in there.
Okay, yeah.
And then Waguanago is really good too. Like after a year, they'd like to meet with the board, to make
See how
sure.
everything's going.
Yeah, see how things are going. Do we need to make any adjustments? So,
They sound proactive.
right. Yes. Further discussion from the board. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have a motion to rescind the approval of the T-Mobile cell tower agreement made on July 2nd, 2024. When the board approved that agreement from T-Mobile, it was contingent on legal review. And then we had legal review of that agreement, and then T-Mobile changed the contract. after the legal review was done. So that was sent to the attorney, but subsequent to that, another change has been made. So what would be prudent right now is, number one, to rescind the motion of approval that was made on July 2nd, 2024. And then the next agenda item, I would not, at this point, I just got that agreement this afternoon, you haven't even seen it. So my recommendation is that we rescind that motion, because that's not a good motion anymore, because so many things changed after we agreed to it, contingent on legal review. So my recommendation is to rescind that motion, and we would table the next agenda item, giving the board an opportunity. I have a clean copy now, so I asked for a red line copy so you could actually see what the changes are. I think that's beneficial. So I would entertain a motion at this point to rescind the motion of approval for the team mobile tower agreement made on July 2nd, 2024. And for the record, this is the tower that's located at Fire Station number 2, Amera Tower. It's got, there's quite a few renters on there, but that's where the tower is at Fire Station 2. So is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make it.
Trustee Newman, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Trustee Finch. Discussion from the board? Discussion, hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. As I stated, the new agreement with T-Mobile, I would ask the board to table this till the next board meeting, giving you an opportunity to see the clean copy and the red line copy. And then if you decided something that you'd like to approve contingent on legal review, I didn't send it to the attorney because you haven't even seen it yet. So that would be my motion, is to table agenda item number F to the next board meeting. Is there a motion to that effect?
We're not in a time frame, are we?
No. They have been going back and forth for 2 years on this. So.
You have the motion to table or need one?
I need one.
I'll make that.
Trustee Newman made the motion. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Trustee Mills. Discussion. And Trustee Finch.
We're ambitious today.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Gentlemen, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like you to hold off on agenda item G. We have a meeting on Wednesday. I think we'd be in a better position to, I hate to set the public hearing on December 2nd until we know for sure. So if the board members wouldn't mind, we'd set that public hearing on our meeting on Wednesday. Is that okay with the board by consensus?
Sounds good.
Dylan, you have any problem with
I'm
that?
fine with that. I was only wondering why it was on Monday, but
Yeah.
we'll talk about that later.
Yep. So, discussion of fire and EMT special assessment fees. As board members are well aware, we were in the process of losing approximately 10 paramedic firefighters on our fire department because of everybody, not only in Waukesha County, Milwaukee, everybody is paying good money, which they deserve, and people are outbidding each other to sustain their quality of service in their community. So this board did make an amendment to address that problem for this year, and also will address that problem in the 2020-25 budget. And one of the things that we talked about that is very popular with other municipalities is doing the special assessment fee on the tax bill. I went to the Leagues Association and a couple weeks ago, and that was really, they were telling people, don't start that, because communities are being sued now for implementing, not only they're being sued for the transportation fees, but they're now being sued for the fire EMT fees. And if you are sued and you do win, it's the manufacturing lobby that's going after this. It's a very, very strong, popular lobby in Madison. What they're lobbying to do is, if municipalities invoke that special assessment fee, you'll be sued, and we have to track who we got the money from. There's penalties and interest, and all that's paid back to the resident. And I know we weren't doing it to say, oh boy, we can make more money. We were thinking about that only because of the increased cost as it relates to salaries. There are, I think, test corners in this area is the only fire department that's volunteer, and I don't even know if they might be paid on call, but I like I said, I'm not begrudging a paramedic or EMT going to another community and making more money, you can't blame the person for that, but what we're gonna have to do again in April is tell the electors what we're dealing with and ask them about a levy increase. Otherwise, we just won't have EMT paramedics. I mean, that's the real truth of it. And I just wanted to let the board members know, I did get a phone call from one fire department questioning the fact that, hey, do you think we should talk about something regionally? Which I'm sorry, this isn't on the agenda. I'll put it on, I'll bring up the stuff on that, but I know we talked about the special assessment fee that other communities are doing, but I don't know, I personally, what I heard in Madison, I don't think I'd risk it, you know.
Not this time.
So we'll just kind of, I mean, I know we've got tons of information, but I wouldn't want to be one of those communities that has to pay back that fee with penalties and interest, so.
But someone else make the precedent, it's gonna happen.
Right,
If
right.
it works, then what?
And I think, I don't know if it was Pewaukee or Delafield, one of them is, but that's for the transportation fee. But now they're gonna go after the fire/EMT fee, so is it the consensus of the board, we just got
Can't
that?
for now.
Okay, that's all good? I'll just note that by consensus, we all agreed to not pursue this, does that sound good?
Yes, sounds good.
And next agenda, unfortunately, I have to go to Naples. It's a tough job, but somebody has to. In my absence, I'd like to appoint Jeff Millies to chair the November 21st, 2024 Village Board meeting. Is there a second to my motion?
Everybody's second.
Well, I'm going to give it to Trustee Finch. Discussion on the motion.
You're gonna come back in December, right?
Yeah. Further discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. RFP for planner, engineering, and legal services for the village of Vernon. I don't know where the board wants to go on this, and there's a very rough draft, that's the only one I had time, and there's a couple, areas that have to be tweaked. We talked about this, last April. And it has nothing to do with the services that we're getting, because we're getting great services. But does the board want to see RFPs for all these positions?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Well, it's too late for this upcoming budget, but
Well, I mean, the nice thing is if you do an RFP and you get somebody that's really good and cheaper, that'd be better next year, but,
Do we have the ability if someone comes in under somebody, but we don't think they're as good?
See, well, we don't-
Can we choose the one we want, even though it's a
Oh,
little more
yes.
pricey?
absolutely, because, we don't have contracts with legal or, planning and engineering. Those are the two not two vendors that we use, and I have to say, what both has done with, the bridge project, they always do great work with our roads and stuff also. But I just wanted to know, that's something we talked way back in April, and I just wanted to see if that was a consensus of the board, or if someone would like to just prove there was, there's an example of RFP in your packet, but it needs a couple tweaks. Is there anybody that would like to?
I do.
Dylan, would you want to do that, and then, that one, bring back as soon as you're ready? Does that sound good, Dylan?
Yep.
And then, is there anyone, I have,
Is other people doing this in the area? The other villages?
that's where I'm getting my RFP examples from.
It's from the RFP.
I'm not dreaming them up, I go to.
No, I figured it probably worked.
Right, right. The Village of Windsor has an excellent one for planning and, engineering, but I haven't had a chance. If there's someone there that would like to, like I said, there's no huge rush, but as soon as, I know Trustee Newman, you said you'd handle, the RFP for legal.
Yeah, my only concern about planning and engineering is with us being in the middle of that bridge project, we probably don't want to make any changes there.
That really scares me. That would be something I'd ask the board. I don't mind looking, but I would sure like to look after the bridge.
Yeah,
And then
I would say maybe let's hold off on planning and engineering
Right,
until at least we're through that project, so we
Right.
don't toss away a bunch of federal money.
Right, and they've done so much and worked so hard, so we'll agree to hold off on that, and then Dylan, you're gonna take over the RFP for legal?
Yeah, if you just wanna send me a copy of
Yes,
just that, yeah.
does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So, next agenda item is the winter 2024 newsletter. Does anybody like to do it? We still have to have one, just so you guys know. What I'll do is, when I'm on vacation, at the beach, I'll kind of work on it, and then hopefully get something, you know, I don't think I'll have anything for you by the 21st, but.
Does it have to go out by?
There's nothing critical, because anything, you know, that we would like to get in, you know, for the tax bills, but the tax bills have all the information that the residents need for the here and now. But I would like to get it out in December, you know, especially with the news as it relates to the rec department, letting the people know what's happening with the fire department, not only with the building, with personnel, so they're on top of everything that's happening. Also like to do a little narrative on the new subdivision that we're working with the village of McGuanago, some of the highlights that are coming to the community. And just so you know, in the newsletter, there we have 3 or 4 entries for the emblem, the village of Vernon emblem and motto. So we'll have that in the newsletter also, where people can vote on which emblem and motto they like. That sound good, gentlemen? Alrighty then, let's see. Reduce the speed on Edgewood Avenue from 45 to 35 on Edgewood Avenue from National Avenue to the underpass of I-43 Freeway Bridge in the villages of Vernon and McGuanago. I don't know if board members have noticed, but the village of McGuanago is doing extra enforcement in that area because they're writing tickets for people going in excess of 65 miles an hour. Yeah.
65?
65, especially on that big turn. Yeah, and I did, in the packet, I did put the comments from the village engineer, our engineer, both DPW directors, their information. Everybody agrees it should be 35, only because of those condos that are right there, and then that whole subdivision.
Yeah, all those houses on the entrance in and out.
Right.
Do we have to have an outside engineering study, or can just McGuanago's village engineer sign
Our
off?
engineer also looked at it also. Both our engineer and both engineers concur that they think it should be 35, not only because of the curve, but for what's coming. I mean, those condos, they're building those condos, more condos faster, but then that whole vacant area is gonna be 95 houses, so the issue is always the entrance and people trying to turn in and get out, so. And I know the village of McGuanago's board really wants that reduced, because they deal with a lot of the complaints from their residents, not only from where the condos are, is the condos that are right across, right by the Fox River where the old Krogstead property used to be. So if the board is consensus, what I'll do is I'll work with the administrator from the village of McGuanago. We're gonna work on a joint ordinance for their board and our board to pass consecutively. Is the board in agreement that authorize the
Absolutely. Yeah.
village president to draft an
We
ordinance?
just can't do the resolution.
Well, when it comes to speed limits, they have to be in an ordinance.
Okay.
Because if you look at your ordinance book, it's every road, it's got, you know, what the speed limit is. So you just wanna do that by ordinance because it's a law, and then when they write tickets, they refer to not only the state statute, but our local enforcement. Does that sound good, gentlemen?
Yes.
So is there a motion to instruct the village president to write the ordinance for reducing the speed limit on National Avenue from, on Edgewood Avenue from National to the underpass of I-43?
Yes.
Well, that was made by trustee Finch. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second by trustee Pecca. Discussion from the board? Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Well, here comes the good news on the Center Bridge project. As you know, we were promised that we would get, when I first wrote that grant, it was for 1.4 million. And then it was an 80-20 split, and then the government had said, no, we're gonna fund it at 100%. And when the DOT went to secure those funds from the federal government, they said, we don't have that money. And they have the 1.4 million, they just don't have the other 600,000. So, the issue is that to get, I mean, it's still, you know, a good deal for us, but we also have to reconstruct the roads or overlay the roads that are adjacent to both sides of that bridge, so, there's nothing we have to do at this point, except for when we're in the budget process, discuss how we're gonna handle, that money. I mean, the DOT did say there's a possibility when they go to bid out, you know, the project, you know, who knows what's gonna happen, but it would be bid out in December. And then to start construction, and that's, when I say start construction, there's things they do before they close the bridge, but that would start in January. In fact, they just said to me that you know, remember when we talked about, how they're gonna lay out the precaution? Because in the winter, there'll be snowmobilers, and depending on where they're gonna be on construction, they wanna make sure that it has the lighting and the cautionary precautions for anybody using the river in the winter and in the fall. So we'll put that on the next agenda, Jeff, and you can talk to the board about that. But that was passed by the DNR, who regulates those type of things. All we just have to do is comply. So, and both has got that down pat, so I just wanted to give you the unfortunate news. And I asked the DOT, is there anything we can do? Is there anybody that we could contact? And he was gonna check to see, you know, if we could talk to our senators to see if there's, you know, it's a lot of times difficult when you write a grant of that magnitude to get another grant to go on top of that, because so many people ask for money. So there's no agenda, there's no formal action we need to do. And you also know in the manual checks, we're gonna approve the 2 checks for the temporary easements from the property owners. We just gotta remember we did those as manual checks so we could get those out. And I just wanted to state for the record, Waukesha County did not charge us a fee for granting us access on their property for the bridge, which I thought was very, very nice. And I'm gonna write a nice little note to Paul Farrell.
Please do.
So, and the last agenda item is to rescind the motion approving the separation agreement with the former clerk administrator. I think what we'll do is we'll talk about this in closed session and bring it back later on. What I would do now is we're under correspondence, announcements, and reports. Trustee Millies, would you like to start?
Sure. Just like to thank all the workers that took place for the election earlier this week. There's a lot of work that goes into running those, and I'd like to thank all of them for helping out. Also, I'd like to thank our president, Karen Shue, for all the hard work she's been doing since we're short a clerk right now. She's been picking up the slack, and really appreciate all she's been doing.
Thank you, Jeff.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Jeff. Trustee Newman?
Nothing.
Trustee Finch?
I'll just take a minute to talk to the gentleman there. We don't have a volunteer fire department. They're all paid.
I know it's a paper call or
No, it's just paid.
paid, okay.
Yeah. And we went through this whole summer. The last board asked to have big quotations done for replacing this whole building and the fire department. So we went through 23 million, and we have people here looking at the building and stuff. So we've already been through all that stuff.
Okay.
So now we're at the point where it looks like remodeling the fire department, and maybe here too, are the best ideas. So we're already along on that, and already have people doing it.
So are there gonna be multiple
No,
proposals?
there can't be any exchange. You can't talk, you can't,
Okay,
just make your announcements.
All right, I guess I'm done. But I just wanted to
yes.
get you up to date on
Thank
that. You bet.
Thank you, Trustee Finch. Trustee Pecca?
Well, I'd like to wish everybody best of luck. They're still working in their yards, and I want to wish, there's footballer hunters are safe when they're out there. That's all.
Thank you, Trustee Pecca. Board members, I once again echo all the board members' deep appreciation for all election inspectors and poll workers, not only in our community, throughout the whole country. I mean, those people deal with a lot of stuff, and I just wanted to give just a little bit of information, quick information on Vernon. We have a population of 7,692 people. Out of that, on that election day, we had 5,831 registered voters that were qualified to vote in the election. We had 43 residents who actually voted in the elections. We had 95% of the voters, the registered voters that voted. 3,560 of those were absentee voters. 2,940 voted in the clerk's office. 669 voted by mail absentee. 718 absentee ballots were mailed to the residents and 49 did not return. And we had 229 election day registrations on election day, so.
95% is fabulous.
Right. And then if you'd add our new, which you can't because, I mean, with adding 229, those poor girls were like, it was like nonstop registration. So
Yeah.
once again, I know the hall board appreciates, and I know Vernon's not, this is like throughout the whole county. Everybody was just, you know, and I wanted to thank the county too, because if there was ever an issue or a problem, they were right there to help. WEC too. We had a couple issues during the election that I have never seen before, and they didn't see either because they brought the attorneys in, which was great, because then you have a legal opinion, because you don't want to make a mistake and you always want to go with the voter, you know, give the voter every opportunity to have their vote expressed. So just once again, thank you to all those election inspectors, poll workers, outstanding job. Board members, we have a DPW report in your packet, and the Waukesha County Sheriff's report. Did I put that in your packet?
Yeah.
Okay, because the fire department came a little bit later. I'm gonna put those both on at the next board meeting, just in case you guys need to talk about that. So the next agenda item is the accounts payable for November 7th, 2024. I know you guys studied.
In the amount of what, $77,379.78.
Was that your motion? I hear you.
Yeah, I have a question. True Green, we were past due on a bill for True Green?
You know, the only thing I can think of is it possibly was in an email that needs to be.
Got looked over?
Right.
Okay.
But because I know Sue makes every effort to make sure if she's aware of that bill.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we'll make sure that we watch that. And I know Jeff caught a 3-cent mistake on Citibank's, and unfortunately it was 3 pennies, but I know they and the treasurer, you know, pick up on that, so there will be a 3-cent credit on our, and if there's not, we'll make sure that
It's just like, where'd that, you find the mistake, yeah, so it's.
Yeah.
I was on a postage one too, it was only a
Oh, yeah.
few dollars, yeah.
Do you need a motion to approve the accounts payable?
Well, I have your motion, if that was your motion.
Yeah, that was a motion.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Discussion from the board. Hearing none, you want to turn that off? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next agenda item, we had 2 manual checks that we had to cut early because of, they were for those easements for the bridge. I'd make a motion to approve the 2 manual checks in the amount of $1,000, $500 each. Is there a second to my motion?
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Millies. Discussion from the board? Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. If board members don't mind, we have a September financial report. I just wanted to kind of go to the number E, the bank reconciliations.
Yeah.
As you know, the board gave authority to hire a person that knows that software to work with Terry, so they now have January completely done, February is completely done, and they're starting on March. So they're really, we should be catching up fast now on financials, which I'm thrilled about.
Yeah.
Because right about this time is when the auditor needs all the information for next year's audit, which she will get. The unfortunate part is I got an email today of all the things she still does not have. So just so you know, I'm getting everything to her as she needs it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the priority now. Number one, the budget, what the auditor needs, and the tax bills are the huge pressing issues right now. So you probably won't, it probably would be more important to see financial reports. What we'll try to do is run an October one, because what they did is try to post all the outstanding, entries that weren't entered into. But at least we, like if we run the October, and as they catch up, you'll see how that financial statement changes. So we won't, nothing on the September. Accounts receivable aging report, that was another issue, where we had, a lapse in 2020-23 where nothing went out for months. So what we used to do, what the board used to do is put unpaid bills on tax bills, but with a 5-month lapse or 4-month lapse in people not receiving their invoicing, we're gonna delay on that and just stay on top of the invoicing for those invoices. And as I stated on the 2020-23 progress for the audit, as I stated, I got another list from the auditor of things she needs, so I will get those to her ASAP so that she can complete that audit. None of the minutes are done at this point, or just announce that November 21st is our next village board meeting. We do have a combined village board and plan commission meeting on November 13th with discussion again about the accessory residential units, and we're going to hold off on the budget hearing date till our Wednesday meeting. At this point, I'd entertain a motion to go into closed session as read by the village president and stated on the agenda. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Motion made by trustee Millies and seconded by trustee Finch. I'll read the roll call. President Shu says yes. Trustee Pecca?
Yes.
Trustee Finch?
Yes.
Trustee Newman?
Yes.
Trustee Millies?
Yes.
All right. Then at this point in time, we will go into closed session to discuss those items.
This gentleman here has to leave.
What's that?
He needs to leave, right?
Yes. The board's gonna go into closed session, and then when it's closed session, nobody can be here.
I can't be around.
But call any of us anytime,
Okay.
Yeah.
Because-
Make sure you show up.
yeah, I mean,
You'll get a lot of visitors.
I just want to, just understand exactly what the motivation is behind it, and, what